Hi, this is Larry King, and they don't come any better than Neil Rogers.
Larry King is with us on line 3, and I think Larry's in Washington right now, Andy. Larry's in Washington. We thought we'd bring Bob in to ask Larry a couple of questions. We were all with interest told about some of the comments made by Mr. King to Don Shula over the weekend, and of course Don Shula retired last week as head coach of the Miami Dolphins. Bob Green is in studio with us. Larry. Hello, Larry.
Hi, guys.
How you doing today?
Super.
I understand you're getting ready to go to Los Angeles?
Yeah, the snow stopped after 2.5 days of being trapped here. It's all blue skies now, but we got about 3 feet on the ground, which is, I think,
you guys are absolutely snowing
in Washington.
Yeah. Every time I go to the Midwest a lot. Every time I try to travel up there, it's like every time New York is shut down, the rest of the country gets shut down.
Yeah, well, everything is shut. I mean, if anyone's listening in Miami and they're flying to the Northeast,
Larry, how you doing?
The airport.
Hi, Larry. Bob Green.
Bob, how are you?
How you doing today?
Fine.
I wanted to take over a little segment here of Phil's show, if I could.
Sure.
Because we were, and I mentioned this to you when I called you originally. First of all, Henry Barrow sends his regards. Not that I've talked to Henry since.
My man, Henry.
Henry sends his regards. Cheryl sends her regards to you.
That's great. Cheryl's still working there?
Yes, she is.
My God, she'll get her Social Security there.
I'm not going to tell her that.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell her that.
God.
We, frankly, Larry, were a little bit taken aback, I guess is the best way to put it, by comments you made to Coach Shula on your program. My understanding was it was Friday evening.
Yeah, well, I was taken aback when I had 2 different friends call me on, I think it was, one called Thursday night and one called Friday when it was learned that Don was going to retire, and they both said, boy, have you heard your old radio station? I said, no, I worked there 20 years. We're the only station ever to do the Dolphins. And they said, they're creaming them to death. I said, what do you mean? Oh, they're inciting school maniacs are calling in, and they're saying personal things about him, and they're vilifying him. And there's a guy in the morning looking to knock him off. He should be out of coaching, and he's too old, and another guy criticizing the way he looks. So when I heard that from 2 different people, what I said to Don was, I heard that the station I worked at and you worked at, because Don and I did a show together every day on WIOD for...
Right.
was rapping you, and he
Phil
said he
Costin,
hasn't... All he said, well, I'm just finishing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Then he said he hadn't listened to talk radio in 2 years, but that he'd heard about it.
Well...
That's all. So if I'm wrong, tell me where I'm wrong.
Well, first of all, we were not personally attacking Coach Shula. We do a talk show here, as you do. We have several. What we did do, and any talk show would do, certainly relative to a story of this kind of local import, was invite our listeners to call and voice their opinions.
The host had no personal opinions about the coach?
Neil Rogers, quite frankly, if you're speaking of Neil Rogers or Rick and Suds or any of the shows here, had nothing but the most glowing things to say about Coach Shula in his retirement. Now, while he was coaching...
Hold. Neil Rogers has something glowing to say about someone?
Neil was on... The day the retirement was announced, Neil said nothing
I'm talking about before the retirement. I'm talking about after the retirement. After the retirement, the whole city applauded him.
I can assure you this, Larry.
What about before the retirement?
All right, I can assure you there was nothing personal in any negative statement made by Neil Rogers.
What kind of criticisms were they?
That he had his coaching ability had begun to slump, that the game perhaps was passing him by, that it was time to make room for a coach. And as you know, the popularity of Jimmy Johnson here is well known.
I wrote in my column 3 years ago that Jimmy was going to come and coach Miami, and Jimmy told me that in Dallas.
Phil Costin just says hi, too. He's in the other studio.
But just let me say this.
Yes.
There's a way you can do it and a way you cannot do it. Now, you can encourage callers to vilify. I've been doing this a long time.
I understand that.
I started.
I know that you were with our radio station for many years. Yeah.
And so I know how to do a talk show.
Daisy Pumpernicks.
And I know how you can storm up a crowd. And the people who told me I have faith in. So you're telling me that Neil Rogers praised him,
Larry,
I would be shocked.
I would not even bother you. I wouldn't even bother you with a phone call where I'm
not talking about after retirement, everybody jumps on the bandwagon. That's below.
No, I'm talking about before Coach Shula announced his retirement.
Were your callers personal or insightful?
The callers, some of the callers may have been, some may have not.
When they were, what did you say to them?
We got rid of them very quickly, to be perfectly honest with you.
Many
of them were dumped.
Your inciting calls were off the air right away?
They were off the air right away, and
I apologize to Mr. Rogers for his fairness.
Thank you.
To the rest of the staff, and that the 2 people who told me must have been hearing things.
I got to tell you, Larry, I take what I do very seriously.
Hello?
Larry, Bob's a little emotional.
I'm sorry, I take what I do very seriously. and to have our radio station vilified on national...
Now, hold on 1 second, Bob. Your station, I was
Bob,
in Miami. How long have you been general manager?
Get Bob a glass of water or something.
How long have you been general manager?
I've been here since 1992.
Okay, I was in Miami 2 years ago. The worst talk radio I ever heard in my life was on WIOD. The worst.
You see, it's comments like that that I think are very unfair.
Do you want an opinion or not? Do you think Neil Rogers is a good talk show host?
I think he's the best in the business.
I think he's the worst I've ever heard.
I think he's the best in the business. And
Well,
this
if you're
is the kind
proud of him, if you're crying because Neil Rogers has been vilified,
What I need to do
you've
here...
got a weird case going here, man.
Larry, could
Why
I
don't
jump...
you go on Neil and cry with each other?
All right, Larry, could I jump in for a minute?
This is insane.
Well, I've got a general manager here who's crying to... Bob, if you can't handle this, I can do this or whatever we want to do.
I can handle. I never heard a worse station.
All right.
I think that's patently unfair of you, and I would demand an apology for that statement.
For having an opinion?
No, for saying that this is the worst talk radio you've ever heard. You know the influence that you have over people.
It's
you
the
know
worst talk radio I ever heard.
I demand an apology for that statement.
I will not give it to you.
I demand an apology for that statement. I'll ask you again as a gentleman.
What are you asking me to apologize?
To apologize for vilifying a radio station that I give my heart and soul to.
Bob, I think...
Larry's expressing an opinion, Bob.
Bob.
Shut up, Phil.
Shut
You
up,
can
Phil.
shut your
You're the
mouth.
general manager. You're telling your host to shut up?
Bob, what I'm asking you to do is to
Hey, guys,
please...
I don't think... when I was on that station,
Yeah.
you could look up class, and
Right.
you'd get WIOD written as
Who
class.
did you name
This
somebody
is
you
an
work-
embarrassing
Who
thing.
did you work with? Who did you work with?
I worked with Dick
Owen
Wilson.
Oh, he was terrible.
Goodbye, Bob.
He was absolute... Wait a second.
I'm not going to talk to you.
No, but wait a second.
Wait a minute.
What
On behalf of the Big Wilson family,
Yes.
I demand an apology for you.
Bob,
Big Wilson
Bob, it's
passed
only
away,
fair.
and you called him terrible.
All right, so could the kettle calling the pot black? Is that what
Okay.
it is? You come on here...
Apologize to the Wilson family.
All right, I apologize.
All right,
to Wilson.
now, what do you think of Bill Calder?
Bill Calder was probably one of the best I ever heard.
The great talent. We did
He was a
loads of
terrific-
things together.
He was a terrific talent. And by the way, he was a very close friend of Neil Rogers.
Do you think Neil Rogers is a talent?
I think Neil Rogers is the preeminent radio talent in America today. Now,
He's the worst
I
talk show host I've ever heard.
I demand an apology.
No.
I demand it.
I think
Bob,
he's-
Bob,
wait
this,
a
we
minute.
can go...
If
we
I-
can go back and forth on this, Bob.
Yes.
You don't even know your own station.
On behalf of the Rogers family, apologize.
Bob, we can go
What
back and
family?
forth with this all the time.
Oh, what is that? And what's that crap supposed to mean?
I apologize.
His mother is listening.
I
and she's-
apologize to Neil Rogers' wife.
What is that crack
You
supposed to
said
mean?
his family.
I'm talking about his mother. He has relatives in this
No,
area.
I would tell his mother that she raised a son who's a terrible talk show host.
Bob, either you can go on with this or you can't.
Bob, you can keep going with this. I'm not going to change my opinion.
I can't believe it.
Well,
I can't.
Bob, listen, man. If you want to come
really
on,
crying for Neil Rogers?
He's like crying over here. Give
but
him
Neil
some of the
Rogers?
I'm sorry.
Well, sorry, Bob.
Hey, Larry,
I gotta figure this
Larry,
again,
can I
right.
just ask you a question here? Where do you think Coach Shula is going to be going after this? Do you think he's going to? Well,
I think he's going to be
get him
vice. He'll be vice president of operations for
He's
the Dolphins.
running the team. Yeah, he's going to run the team from that standpoint. But do you think he might want to entertain any other coaching possibilities?
You know, there's a rumor that Baltimore would ask him.
I want an apology. Bob, shut up.
I don't believe he's the general manager.
You know what? At this point, neither do I.
Yeah, I don't.
All right.
He can't be general manager. Is this a?
Well,
so,
I'll tell you
Are
something.
you still
right
owned
now,
by
Larry.
Cox?
Yes, we are owned by Cox
You know,
Broadcasting, an $8 billion company.
I do charities for Cox every year, and have made appearances for the Cox people all over the country.
Have you raised money?
I don't. Of course.
Well, that's a shock.
All right. What? I mean, look at Bob.
If
this
he's
is going to be,
manager,
if this is going to be contentious, I don't want to.
I'm not going to make it contentious by telling you goodbye, Phil.
What? Hello. Thanks a lot,
good evening.
Bob. Hi.
Yes, I'm a very big
Bob.
hockey fan, and so is Neil Rogers.
I didn't know that Neil was, and nor do I know who Neil is.
Okay, 12:14 at WIOD.
The Weekend Magazine has changed. New hosts, new segments, new stories, new times. 6 a.m. till 9 a.m. Saturday and Sunday mornings. Who's the host this weekend? We don't know. The Weekend Magazine on News, Talk, and Entertainment Radio. 610 WIOD.
I didn't know that Neil was, and nor do I know who Neil is.
Dollars have touched play. We're all dealing with acceptance here. If I give you a check, dollars have touched play. We're all dealing with acceptance here. If I give you a check, dollars have touched play. We're all dealing with acceptance here. If I give you a check, dollars have touched play. We're all dealing with acceptance here.
Nothing to do with that.
Okay, whatever you say. So there's like the 10 greatest minutes in the history of modern radio, okay, right there. Phil Hendrie making a jackass out of Larry King. And here, Phil just had me a copy of the facts he got in response to this to show you the brilliant audience we got out there with a great sense of humor, to show you the audience that we have, to show you the nature of the people in South Florida. Here's the facts. Phil, congratulations with a D. How many D's in congratulations? After the Larry King episode, you just barely beat out that sicky station manager for the most disgusting performance on talk radio. You most assuredly win number 1 with the groping information for the blind. I hate to admit it, but that schmuck Larry King made you both look like empty putz heads, which evidently you both are. Please don't show the facts to your station manager. I would not wish him to cry again. Jesus, I can't believe the entire performance. Surely you must be long overdue for a vacation. Sincerely, trying to forget. That's the facts he gets after that. I'm speechless. I'm driving home listening to that. In fact, when Phil told me he was going to put this call in, I flew down to the car. I cranked up that radio. I had it blasting. I was laughing so hard, tears were rolling down my cheeks, and especially when he sucked Larry into that business about me, which you knew was coming because, like I said, he's as transparent as a piece of glass. I love it. And this is the response from the South Florida audience. See, Don Shula they appreciate because he's a football coach, or was. What else they appreciate, we're not really too sure of. We have an open line at Broward, 524-9463, 524-1 on the green line in Boca and Palm Beach, etc. 1-800-944. What's it all about? Here's Boynton Beach. Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay, sir.
That was a really good point you made earlier when you were comparing, say, Don Shula with Chuck Noll of the Steelers. I'm from Pittsburgh, and
right.
I was born with a terrible towel in one hand and season tickets to Steelers
4
in the other.
Super Bowls this man won. 4, count them.
Right, and we all loved Chuck Noll and appreciated what he did for us in the 70s, but hell, it was the 90s.
Right.
And you know how the Steeler fans are, even if you like the Dolphins or if you have, everybody knows the Steeler fans are some of the best fans in the country, and they were calling for his rear end, just like you said. And as far as I'm concerned, I love Dan Marino. I can't stand the Dolphins, but Marino's a class guy.
Yeah.
I can't believe everybody calls and wants his head. You know, I mean, I think
can I tell you why?
And gone years ago.
Let me just interrupt for a second. Can I tell you why? In Pittsburgh, the football fans are knowledgeable. They understand the game. They know the ins and the outs. They know why teams win and why teams lose. They know that coaches can motivate people to do great things or not, as the case may be. Here, you have the least knowledgeable sports fans, not just football, but any sports. They don't know sport from their ass. Right. So all they know is this man has got these glowing, he's won more games than George Halas, anybody else. He's not out there on the field, see? So him and Gary Stevens and Oliver Dottie, they're not out there on the field throwing interceptions, fumbling the ball, whatever the hell they're doing, okay, making mistakes, which if you're out there every game, you're going to make some sooner or later. So they have to look at somebody who's out there making a lot of money, and because he doesn't win every game, because he doesn't take them to the Super Bowl single-handedly, therefore let's blame it on him. Because they don't understand the game.
Well, you know, and a lot of that, you know, you got to look at the top of the organization down.
Right.
The Steelers have a class organization. They run their team in a very classy manner. They don't have they've got a bunch of guys that don't make a lot of money. But nobody will
ever confuse Art Rooney for Wayne Huizenga.
I'd never do that. But I wanted to bring up another point too.
Or Joe Robbie.
Yeah, as far as the Steelers beating the Colts this weekend, I don't really have a problem. I think that's going to happen. I think that's a given.
I think it's going to be a blowout.
I feel that too. However, I know not to be overconfident. But in the NFC, when they play the NFC, you know how the dominance they've had over the AFC teams. With what the Steelers did at Green Bay on the last game of the season, did that kind of solidify your feeling that they can definitely compete with the NFC?
Oh, I don't think there's any question about it.
I mean,
and if Thigpen doesn't drop the ball, I mean, that's the end of the game. But don't keep one thing in mind. A lot of people keep pointing back to the fact that they blew that chance to win the game. It wasn't a meaningful game for the Steelers.
No, it wasn't.
Green Bay, it was life and death. I mean, they had everything riding on that game. For Pittsburgh, it meant nothing.
I mean, did you see the faces of their players after the game was over? They were laughing about it. They couldn't believe it. But they didn't they weren't laying down on the ground, you know, like this was just horrible. They knew we may get them again.
Right, and they will.
Yeah.
I hope. I'd love to see Green Bay beat Dallas.
Wouldn't that be a classic Super Bowl?
I'd love to see Barry Swisher get what he's got coming to him, and that's get his ass whipped by Green Bay.
I don't like that matchup, though. I don't like the matchup between the Steelers and, say, the Cowboys if that happens. That scares me. I mean, I'll be quite honest with you.
I'll tell you what, how about if you play the Phoenix Cardinals? We'll bring them out. Buddy Ryan will bring him back for one more game. We'll suit them up and give that a shot.
That'd be great.
Come on, you got to beat the best, man. That's what Super Bowls are all about.
I know.
You can't play a girls' team every week.
I know they can beat the Packers. The Cowboys...
no problem.
I hope you're right, man.
They will annihilate them. Trust me. Take it to the bank.
Great show.
Your money, though, not mine.
Yeah.
Have a good luck to you.
Okay.
We have an open line, two of them on the green lines there in Palm Beach, which are useless as a Frogs Hooters. 1-800-944-9463. 1-800-944-WIOD, bud. 1222 at WIOD.
Hi, your loan is approved, right?
Hello? Who's in my cupboard?
Is anybody out there? Let me out!
It's the gay Indian in my cupboard.
Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you?
Finally, a movie for homosexual children.
Hello.
Gay Indian in the cupboard.
Can I shower with you, little boy?
Gay Indian in the cupboard.
Where are you, gay Indian? Hey, how did you get in my pants?
Gay Indian in the cupboard.
Question. Can we get some shelf paper in here? Like a magenta or something? It's just so filthy.
Gay Indian in the cupboard.
Can we shut that crap off? This is one redskin who wants some shouting. Yes!
So anyway, it's 12:25. I was just thinking, I'm looking at the Steve Spurrier thing, which I read to you like hours ago about the fact that he's turned down the Tampa Bay Bucks. Good move, Stevie. Good move, Yahoo. And he's staying with the Gators, baby. He's having a press conference at 2, and he says, I'm staying in Gainesville because that's a little bit too big city for me over there in Tampa Bay, and I'll be staying right here where I belong with all you Yahoos and rednecks in Gainesville. So there you go. All the Gator fans that were worried they're going to lose their Spurrier, it was kind of a spurious thing, and have no fear because he's still here, and Tampa Bay may not be. They may be moving. So, anyway, it's 26 past noon at WIOD on a just traumatic week that's going on here, but I think that life is passing a lot of you by. I don't think most of them have caught on yet. They don't get it. Here's a mobile in Miami Beach. Hello?
Hey, Uncle Neil.
Yes, sir.
Hey, at the risk of sounding like I listened to the Aaron Summer show, I can't believe how this Larry King thing's really snowballing.
Yeah, but does he have his Red Wings yet? That's the question.
It's funny.
He would know the Red Wings from the Blackhawks.
I was trying to get a turn to that 560, the sports station, to get a traffic report.
Yeah.
And, because that's all they play. And I got one of their sports blitzes.
A sports blitz.
Yeah, Cox has filed another lawsuit to Phil Hendrie for doing Larry King and talking down the station. Talking down the Dolphin station.
Right.
And in closing...
Yes, sir.
Hey, it's a good thing Spurrier decided to stay in Gainesville. Now, instead of getting beat bad in a big game, he would have gotten beat every week.
All right.
All right, thanks.
Have a great day, pal. We have an open line in Broward. I don't think that Steve Spurrier, to be very honest with you, is sophisticated enough to be in a major market like Tampa, Clearwater, St. Pete, even though there are a bunch of nose-picking yahoos over there and like 75,000 steps beneath us. I just don't think, if you've ever heard the man talk, if you've ever heard him try to articulate, he's kind of like a step away from Terry Bowden. I don't want to confuse Terry with Bobby Bowden, because Bobby, compared to those two guys, is like a big city slicker, even though he's kind of a yahoo also. But Terry Bowden, I mean, seriously, if his finger ain't like embedded in one of his nostrils, then I can't imagine whose is. Here's Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hi, Neil.
Yes, sir.
This is Dave Russell calling. I'm from Fort Lauderdale. I wanted to say something about the Dolphins.
Can I ask you a question, Dave?
Yes.
Why did you feel compelled to give me your name, which we don't usually do? Not that I really care, but I just found it curious the way you said that, as though it was kind of like you were announcing it. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of strange.
Well, you can cut it off then.
Well, it's too late to cut it off.
I wanted to make a comment, though.
Yes.
About the Dolphins and about Dan Marino.
Yeah.
You know, the one thing that a guy like Jim Harbaugh...
Who?
Jim Harbaugh of the Colts.
Wait a minute. How are you spelling that? J-I-M.
H-A-R-B-A-U-G-H, I believe.
We're saying, how do you pronounce it?
Harbaugh.
Harborough.
Okay.
Rhymes with Marlboro. I didn't know Jim smoked.
Does.
I didn't know a good born-again Christian boy like Jim Harborough smoked.
Well,
He is,
You got me
he thanked
nailed
Jesus
because I do
He thanked
smoke.
Jesus and God and Mary and Esther for winning that game. Did you see that after the game the other day? That was
Yes,
the
I
first
did.
thing he did was thank the Lord and Jesus because he was betting on the Colts, I guess.
Right. I'm not one of the reborns, but
Okay.
I wanted
Well, let's
to
get
say
back to
something.
Jim Harborough.
I wanted to say something
Okay,
about
Dick.
Marino compared to a guy like that.
Yeah.
The fatal flaw with Marino is
Yeah, fatal flaw. Here we go.
okay.
Just bear out what
can't
I've been
run.
saying for 2.5 hours, right?
Okay, he can't run.
He's got bad knees,
he can't
right?
block, and he can't tackle.
Yeah.
And Harborough can do can do the same thing.
Yeah. Well, how many games has Jim Harborough won since he's been in the NFL with the Bears and with the Colts? How many games has he won? Do you have any idea? How many records has he broken?
I have no idea, but
Yeah.
he's,
well, you don't,
but
I don't
he's
think,
in the playoffs
I don't think
now,
you have.
isn't he?
Well, he's in the playoffs because basically his team lucked out against a team that decided to play a quarterback who couldn't run, couldn't throw, and couldn't breathe, and that was Sonny Bono in the game with Kansas City. That's the only reason he's in the playoffs is because Marty Schottenheimer's a shothead. That's why.
Do you really believe that?
Oh, I
Neil?
believe it beyond a shadow of a doubt. But obviously, with your vast knowledge of football, I mean, you probably weren't able to, perceive that during that game if you watched it over the weekend. There can be little doubt, and of course, the fact that Lynn Elliott missed 4 field goals that my grandmother could have kicked, or 3 field goals that also let him in the back door. So you can continue telling me that Jim Harborough, which you don't even know how to pronounce his name, is so superior to Dan Marino, and all I can tell you is that you're pathetic. We have 2 open lines in Broward.
That Jim Harborough, he's the best. He's, what Danny Marino? He's a statue, and he's got bad knees, and
okay. That's right. Just like Mike Gartner, Harry Neal was saying the other night. Mike Gartner, who leads the Maple Leafs in goals with 19 or 20 right now at the moment, who's 35 years old and wears braces on both knees, is still the fastest skater on the team and one of the fastest in the league. And it just goes to show you when you got a big heart and big balls like Dan Marino and Mike Gartner and some other jocks, you overcome that and you go out there and break all kinds of records and you're fantastic and you deserve all the credit, all the adulation, and all the money. And Jim Harborough, so far, other than being like a mediocre quarterback with the Bears, which they said adios to him because you stink and you choke, and now like winning a few games in Indianapolis, which, yes, he did play pretty well, but let's face it, a game and a couple of games don't make a career, okay? And this jackass calls up here from Broward County to give us a song and a dance when he couldn't even spell football, much less pronounce it. 2 open lines in Broward, 524-WIOD. We got one on the green line, 1-800-944-94. And remember what I was saying to that other guy a little while ago about how knowledgeable these fans are down here? They think because they can turn on their TV and, throw back about 20 or 30 beers on Sunday and watch a ball game for free, that makes them an expert. These are people that never even bought a ticket, never even got off their dead ass and got on a bus or got in their car and drove down to a football game and gave their tangible support. But because it's for free, they're an expert. You couldn't lick Dan Marino's ass, pal. I'll tell you that right now. Dick. Here's Miami. Hello.
How you doing, Neil?
What
How's
is
everything?
it? Oh, that's right. Missing the young and the horny. Yes, sir.
Yeah, how you doing?
Good.
I don't know I know you don't hear 560, but I was hearing it the other day.
How do you know that? How do you know I don't flip over there once in a while just to have a few good laughs?
Well, that's true. That's what I was flipping in the other night, and I was hearing this guy named Rocco the Succo.
Rocco Bendover, yes.
Yeah, him. And he was
He's got a bad complexion, by the way. That kid's got zits for brains.
Yeah, he sounds like
in fact,
a punk.
I think he's been rubbing his head with Wayne's. It's rubbing off now.
I think he sounds like a punk to me.
He is. He's a little punk.
With that nasty music they have in the background,
And he
too.
works cheap, yeah.
Very cheap. Well, he was saying that he hopes Jimmy Johnson comes to the Dolphins.
Yeah.
And his first season, he goes 0-16.
Well, I'm sure he does because he's a Buffalo fan. This little punk they brought in from Buffalo, he's a closet Bills fan, so of course he hopes he goes 0-16.
And I see all this negativity going around about the Dolphins.
I hope Jimmy Johnson comes in and the first year the Dolphins go undefeated and win the Super Bowl and never allow 1 point. They break every record in the history books that'll make everybody forget about Don Shula just to show a point, okay? It's a game, okay? It's a goddamn football game.
And people don't realize it. They make it their life.
Life goes on. George Halas was great, but he ain't coaching the Bears anymore, and Dave Wannstedt's doing a pretty good job.
These people don't have lives.
Right.
They're losers. They don't have
that's
nothing
right.
else to do.
That is absolutely right. You put your finger on it. But not too tight.
But yeah, true. But they got to get into something else, and they got to go, well, the Dolphins suck, and, let's fire Shula.
Just like, how do you like this last redneck that calls me up, Jim Harborough? Jim Harbaugh. He don't even know how to pronounce this kid's name. He has probably never seen 3 football games that Jim Harbaugh plays, which when you got a dish like I do, you see every game in the league every weekend. And I got news for you. Jim Harbaugh hasn't proved nothing to me yet. He's played a few pretty damn good games. Other than that don't make a career.
Another thing, Neil, the fans up here don't know how to appreciate what they have.
That's right.
When you go to Chicago, when you go to up north, you go to other places. I had a friend of mine tell me, came down here, you guys don't know what you got down here. You guys have one of the best quarterbacks of all time, and you better go to as many games as you can.
Well, how about like the Panthers playing in San Jose last night? They've had 65 sellouts in a row. They got the second worst team in the league, and they packed that place, and they got a beautiful new arena there. And those people appreciate it. They would never give up that team in a million years.
And the funny thing about here in Miami, that all of a sudden everything's coming together in place. We got the Miami arena. Everything's getting pretty nice over there. It was kind of bad back then, but it's all coming together. And now this guy wants to get the Florida Panthers out of here. Well,
I'm going to go home and cry for a few hours because he's losing some money, I'm going to go home and get out my big hanky.
We got to appreciate Marino's magic out there. We got to appreciate this guy.
They don't.
We got to appreciate him.
They don't.
We don't have real fans.
He doesn't have the Teflon coating. Don't you understand? They don't understand the game.
And
Don Shula won, the Super Bowl 22 and 23 years ago, and here they got the best quarterback in the game today, bar none, who goes out there and plays in pain, who's frustrated because he's playing with a cast of losers out there, and all they want to do is rip him an ass because he's not winning every game.
People don't see what's coming. The fans don't see what's coming. We're going to get Jimmy Johnson. We're going to have a hell of a coach.
That's right.
We're going to have a hell of a quarterback, hell of a leader.
And year after next, Emmitt Smith will be playing down here in a Dolphin uniform. We'll have a running game.
Believe it or not, you may not believe, we're going to have a dynasty coming here.
I hope so.
And
I hope Jimmy sticks it right up that Rocky Bendover's butt.
And let me say one thing. Don Shula's a douchebag. And I'm glad
I'm going to agree with you.
Okay, pal.
Bye.
Adios. You hear what Larry King just said? He agreed with that. And that's what kills me. If you listen carefully to that tape with Phil, with that conversation with Larry Ziegler, you notice how he comes on there and he's talking about the vituperative calls, the vindictive calls. Yeah, well, what is that? In other words, if somebody calls up and says something you don't like, in other words, cut them off. Because they're not sucking ass. That's why all those people show up on that show, because not only does he suck ass, but they screen out the calls, and God forbid should anybody call up and say anything even slightly disagreeable, argumentative, or caustic, they're gone. Adios, bingo. And that's his idea of a talk. He doesn't know how to do a talk show. He knows how to do an ass-kissing fest. That's the only thing he knows, which is why he is where he is today. Which goes to show you that ass-kissing, yes, it does. It will get you a long way if you know the right people and kiss the right asses. No question about it. He's living proof of that. But we're supposed to sit here and because somebody... In other words, we're just supposed to orchestrate a thing here where everybody agrees with everything that we say. And I'm going to say it again because I've said it for years that most of the callers are like that anyway. I come on here and I unleash some criticism, and very valid at that. And almost everybody who calls here, like after the Shula announcement came down and then Friday morning, 99% of the people agreeing with me. Phil comes on and he does that make-believe thing about how Shula's being picked upon, he's a legend. And all of a sudden, everybody that's calling him basically is agreeing with him. Because people are generally ass-lickers. Well, I got news for you. This may be the worst goddamn talk show in America, but I'd rather tell it like it is. I'd rather have even a little tiny pair of balls than be just another ass-licker, because they're a dime a dozen. They're everywhere. They're sheep. They haven't got an original thought in their butt. 1237 at WIOD. You want to...
People in South Florida were pushing new buttons this week. The ones controlling their heaters. Mother Nature caused it. The Weather Channel predicted it. And you got the news on the Big Chill. From News, Talk, and Entertainment Radio. 610 WIOD.
Okay, it's 1240 at WIOD. The people at AFC Village Plumbing in town seem to have a lot of extra fax paper to send us a bunch of crap. Larry King is the best. Hey, Julio, blow it out your ass, okay, and quit wasting all the paper. People are starving, and this guy's wasting fax paper. That's over at AFC Village Plumbing. So anyway, I have a letter here. This letter is the greatest letter I have ever received. March 1st will be 20 years I've been in Miami. It's not a letter, it's a fax of a letter. And I'm serious about this. I'm not being sarcastic for once in my life. The greatest letter I've ever gotten in all the years that I've been on the air in this town. It's a copy of a letter that a man named Paul, I won't use his whole name on the air because why do that, but he sent this letter to the station manager of Channel 6. That's your Storm Center Hysteria station, Channel 6 NBC. And he sent a copy to the Herald, the Sun Sentinel, Fort Lauderdale Police Department. How about that? And you'll understand why when I read it. The letter's addressed to Ms. Deborah Kalura, News Director, WTVJ Channel 6. Dear Ms. Kalura, I've been a resident of South Florida for the past 2.5 years. Since I've moved here, I've relied on your station for my local news, both now and when you were located on Channel 4. While I've been bothered by some decisions made and stories broadcast, Brian Norcross's Aaron hysteria comes to mind, I've stuck with your station. I'm writing to inform you that I can no longer tolerate your newscast. Your handling of Don Shula's retirement and the potential hiring of Jimmy Johnson is the straw that broke the camel's back. Saturday night, January 6th, a Fort Lauderdale police officer was killed in the line of duty. Is there a more tragic event that can affect a community? However, while you mentioned this at the top of the news, your lead story was a report on the possibility that Jimmy Johnson may become the coach of the Miami Dolphins. This was news. The potential for Jimmy Johnson coaching the Fins has been known for weeks, if not months. Sports are a great way for the community to come together, and I attend numerous events each year, but they are just games. Underlined, just games. Where are your priorities, he asks. A police officer is murdered protecting us, and that plays second fiddle to the theoretical hiring of a football coach. You and the rest of the broadcast team at NBC6 should be ashamed of yourselves. I've watched my last newscast from WTVJ-TV, says Paul in Margate. Oh! All right, Paul. This letter should be framed. It should be put up on walls, on bus stops, on subways in cities that haven't been invented yet. Attaboy, Paul. There's a guy that actually's got his priorities together and understands there are more important things. But, of course, you got to understand when Jimmy Segreto is over there, crying in his beer, having a nervous breakdown, snapping his old suspenders because his buddy, the Schulemeister, is gone, and it's the saddest day he can remember in the history of his goddamn life. This is the mentality in this town, baby. And that's why we're just spinning our wheels. That's why there's no leadership. The people, I would say 90%, and I'm being generous, of the people in the media in this town, print and electronic, are the most Bush League bunch of pudwhackers I have ever encountered in my life. Parochial, little, tiny people. And just glancing, I always glance at the columns in the Sun Sentinel to see just how parochial they're going to be. And there's Ray Wretched, true to form, just like I predicted, writing another column this morning about his kids and his wife. The kind of stuff you would read in a newspaper in Geneva, New York. In Albion, Michigan. That's the level of the journalism, and I use that word very loosely, that we have in this town. It reminds me of a guy that we used to have, an intern or somebody like that, who worked over next door for a while at Channel 7. And I'll never forget that kid coming in and telling me what an honor it was to work with Mark Ludner and what a great journalist he is. If anybody in this audience can tell me anything of significance, anything memorable that Mark Ludner has ever said in the years that he's been polluting the video waves of this town, I would love to hear what it is. Can you tell me anything? Can you give me a clue on what it is that makes him a great journalist? Probably the same thing that makes Dave Barry one. Oh, I'm sorry. Here's a lady mobile in West Palm. Hello.
Hello, Neil.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I finally got through to you, and I think I might be the only woman that exists in West Palm Beach that meets your criteria.
The only woman under 100?
I'm sorry?
You're the only woman under 100 in Palm Beach who listens to this station. Well, thank God.
I'm under 25, actually.
Great.
And I'm a big hockey fan. I'm originally from New York. I came down here with my family about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I have a heartbeat, and I love hockey, and I know a lot about hockey, too.
Great.
So, and the thing is, too, it's just, if I hear one more thing about Don Shula or JJ, I'm going to scream.
Right.
It's disgusting. I can't take it anymore. It's a coach, you know, and granted, you know, Don Shula, you know, winningest coach of all time, you know, and he's done his job. He's went through all different football systems in the years he's been a coach, but, you know, it was his time to go, and that's it. And it's not the first time it's happened. It's not the last time it's going to happen.
Well, don't tell me that your life is going to go on now.
I think it is.
Oh, my God.
You know, I actually got a few hours sleep the night the day it happened, too, you know, believe it or not.
You ungrateful thing, you.
But the thing that bothers me, too, is that, you know, it's like, you know, everybody's talking about how bad the fans down here are, and they are. And the thing that bothers me is, like, don't people realize that they have, like, one of the better or better hockey teams down here playing this year.
Most of these people would know a hockey puck if you jammed one in each nostril, okay? In fact, most of these people already got something in their nostril. They don't got room for a hockey puck. You know what I'm saying? They either got a finger or powder or both in their nostrils. They don't have room for no hockey pucks.
And the thing is, I drive down there from up here, to go to games. And, I used to live in Miami, and I moved up here. But, I still drive down there for games, at least 5 times a year, when I can make it. And, I love it. And the thing is, they start leaving at the beginning of the third period.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand that.
Yeah, about a third of them come in the middle of the first period, or some of them are still coming in the first 5 minutes of the second period, and then when it's about 10 minutes to go in the third, then they're out the door because they got to get home, get their head on the pillow by 10.
I just don't understand.
God forbid on a weeknight they should get home beyond 10:15.
Yeah, the only thing that benefits for me is that if I got Panther Pack seats, if they leave down the lower bowl, I can move down there and watch the last 5 minutes.
Well, I enjoy it because it makes it real easy to get out of there. Get to valet, you get your car, there's no traffic, you zip right out, you're home in half an hour.
Yeah, well, do you think the thing that's they look to be slipping on the road, though?
They came back last night. They'll be all right.
Yeah, well,
everybody goes through their ups and downs. Nobody, nobody in their right mind thought they were going to sustain that all season long.
Exactly.
We had our little lull now, and we're on the way back.
And you got a coach that, even though he stresses defense, he stresses offense.
It's interesting. It's interesting you say this because in Sports Illustrated, national magazines, Hockey Night in Canada, national shows, Doug McClain is the big story in sports of the year. Okay, because he's come from out of nowhere.
Yep.
He's coaching the Eastern All-Stars because he had the Panthers in first place on December, whatever the date was, 27th. And this man deserves more credit, and yet nobody talks about him. All we hear about is poor Don Shula and his Jimmy signed up yet, and what about that redneck Steve Spurrier? That's all they know here, man. You talk about one-dimensional and one-track minds, it's pathetic.
And the thing is, I remember when he got the certain number of wins to get the nod for the All-Star coaching job. And the thing is, I'm reading all the papers, and this is an expansion team that everybody's concentrating on this, which I guess they should give some credit to with the thing with Huizinga with them leaving and everything, but it's like, I just see a little note that he got named head coach.
Yeah, right. Here's something, see, I'm supposed to be Mr. Negative, and yet I'm trying to build up something we got great going on in town. In the meantime, these people in the media, they're the ones who are negative because when we ever do have something good going on, they don't know from it. They know nothing about it.
And he's coaching all-stars, and these are guys.
And how many times did we win games, by the way, in the first part of the season? And the headline in the Sun Sentinel was, "It wasn't pretty, but we'll take the points." Some sarcastic, caustic thing, because we didn't play a perfect game, it wasn't really all so good, and we're embarrassed.
And let me tell you something. Some of the great, Gretzky and Lindros and all them, they're all great goal scorers. But some of the great goal scorers that used to play, were down and dirty and got goals in the slot, not from the blue line.
Like Gordie Howe, the dirtiest that ever put on a jockstrap. Well, listen, sweetheart, have a great life.
You too.
And hang in there, because it ain't going to get no better.
Take care.
See ya. Okay,
Bye.
take good care of yourself, because we can't afford to lose you. Oh, no. Not this again. He's going to start with this again. We don't know about it. We don't know what it is. We don't want to know. Oh!
There's no doubt. It's winner take all. It's what the game's all about. Yeah. All the big guns gonna shoot out the lights. The place will be rocking 'cause it's Saturday night. Hard hitting, fast breaking, bullet on ice. The place will be rocking 'cause it's hockey tonight. Scoring goals, taking hits. Move that mask band and giving everyone fits. Scream and shout, make some noise. Rocking and sounding like Sarah's boys. All the big guns gonna shoot out the lights. The place will be rocking 'cause it's Saturday night. Hard hitting, fast breaking, bullet on ice. The place will be rocking, baby. It's Saturday night.
From coast to coast, this is Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC. Stand by. The Lightning and the Canucks are next.
Yes, good evening.
Hi.
Yes, I'm a very big hockey fan, and so is Neil Rogers.
I didn't know that Neil was, and nor do I know who Neil is.
1250 at WIOD. Okay, 1252 at WIOD. Let's zip right along because I think we're going to wrap it up at 1. It looks like that's going to be it. We have 2 open lines in Broward and 1 on the green line in Palm Beach. And don't forget, even though it's tied up right now, that purple line, the good news is this is a great day, January 9. Mark it down in your calendar, 96. Thanks to our friends at Mobile One, we now have the ability for you to call in, like on your mobile, whatever it is, whether it's AT&T, whether it's Bell South Mobility, whatever it is. You can call in toll-free just on that same number, pound IOD, and we pay the freight, and it works, and we thank Mobile One, and we love them, and that's it. So thank God for that. Too bad we don't have about 10 of those lines, like getting rid of those stupid green lines, which is the biggest waste of time. Of course, that would piss off the passion bitch, but too bad, sweetheart. Go grab your honey bear and squeeze it. Here's Miami. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Okay.
I haven't heard anybody say this yet, but on an FM radio station, I won't say the name yet.
Not Y100.
Oh, my God, you already heard it.
We heard yesterday some phony baloney about Dan Marino.
What the hell's all that about?
I don't know. What did they say?
The only thing that they've said the other day, the original day, which was, well, obviously yesterday, that he had some kind of statement to make that he wasn't going to go on any kind of, with Tony Segreto and all those, he was going to announce it first on Y100.
Oh, yeah, right.
So anytime,
I really believe that.
Anytime between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m., he's going to say something.
Oh, so in other words, you really believe that? In other words, this is a con job to try to convince everybody, stay tuned to Y100 now, because we don't have any money to buy the listeners anymore like we used to. So David Ross is going to con you into believing, just stay tuned here, and Dan Marino is going to make a big announcement on Y100 because he knows all the 12-year-old kids come to the Dolphin games.
No, man, I'm not.
And buy the tickets.
No, I definitely listen to WIOD. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying.
But that's the idea, though. That's what they're trying to foist on the public.
Right.
Trying to foist a fraud on the public, which, thank God, is something we would never do, especially Phil.
So you haven't heard anything, though? Or your station or nothing?
I'm trying to tell you, there ain't nothing.
Huh.
Trust me. Or not.
I trust you.
Okay.
All right, sir.
Have a great life.
Bye.
We have an open line today. Yeah, I'm sure that when Dan Marino has an announcement to make, he wouldn't do it like on, major media. He'd go on Y100 to make his announcement. What announcement is that going to be? I mean, he's got, what is there to say, Dan? 7 million ain't enough? Is that what you're going to say? I love you, Dan, but enough is enough already. You got more money than God. Cut the crap. Just sign the deal, and Jimmy's going to be here. It's going to be great. No more Gary Stevens. No more of this bull crap. No more having to come from behind 30 points because Tom Olivadatti's out there looking confused and running his college and high school defense. Let's get with it, Danny boy. Get with the program. Open line in Broward, 524-WIOD. We got 1 on the green line, 1-800, and we just sure can't wait to hear all those great spy reports from our friend up there. It proves what I've said, man. It just, if we could sell it by the pound, we'd be rich. Here's Boca on the purple line. Hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Oh, great show today. That 10-minute conversation with
But
Phil
this is the worst talk show in America, though.
was the best 10 minutes of my life.
Right.
About
of my
40
goddamn
minutes ago.
life.
There's two, I hate to categorize, but there's two types of people in your audience, and one is those of us that have a clue and those that don't have a clue.
Don't have even a hint of one.
And the facts that you
like
were
the guy with Jim Harborough.
I forgot to preamp with my name. This is Joe Schmo from Boca.
He should have said that. This is Chaim Schmendrick calling from Margate.
But the paper Phil gave you, that letter.
Yep.
Clueless.
Congratulations with a D.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Well, it's a typical people that don't have a clue.
Typical moron. It probably came from somebody over at QAM. Maybe Hank's boyfriend wrote it.
I'm glad I was on the phone on hold for a little while because I had to recuperate from that conversation with Phil Hendrie and that comment that Brian Cox made about him doing a voice with Larry King. That was great.
Yeah. Brilliant.
But anyway,
very perspicacious, Brian. You're right on top of things, sweetheart.
He picks up so well.
Yeah.
All right, Neil. I just wanted to let you know.
Thank God there's somebody out there that appreciated it besides those of us on the inside here.
That woman that called from West Palm?
Yeah.
I want to marry her.
Okay. We'll get her number for you.
Bye.
See you, pal. Open line on the purple line, pound IOD. Yeah, this town, that's one thing. When they got something good, when they got something that's real stale like the brainstem, then they want to embrace it forever until it just rots in their hands. Stale, moldy, oldie and moldy, kind of like Rick Shaw. Even he, vanished into the nighttime or God only knows, somewhere at Waxy, wherever with that cap of his, okay? Nothing personal. It's business. Do you know what I'm saying? Boy, oh boy, it's just, I mean, anybody that aspires to do the same thing forever, I got news for you. If I had the cash, and that's it. I mean, the guy's financially independent, so what's everybody all upset about? I've never been able to understand the guys like Dick Clark and Ed McMahon and all these other fossils that have got more millions than we could ever dream of seeing in a lifetime, and yet they keep going, and they just get greedier and greedier, and every time you turn around, they are pitching some other crap. Every time you fart, there's Dick Clark and Ed McMahon hand in hand at the door trying to sell you some magazine or some stupid contest, whatever it is. It just never stops. How much is enough? And as I started to say before I was so rudely interrupted and I demand an apology from myself, as I was starting to say, if I had the bucks that I could retire and live not like a millionaire, which I'll never be, but just comfortably for the rest of my putrid years, I'd be gone now. I wouldn't come back after the 1 o'clock news. I'd say, thanks for the memories, have a great life. That's it. That's all. So what's all the goddamn crying party about, Tony Segreto and Jimmy Syphilis and all you crybaby and Jim Manwich? What the hell are you crying about? We should have this man's problems. The Hummer. The hum job?
Is that a radio in your pocket, or are you just glad to see me? WIOD, Miami, Fort Lauderdale. News, talk, and entertainment radio. 610 WIOD.
Bill and Paula, together again. Good afternoon at 1 o'clock. This is Jennifer Rim. News, talk, and entertainment radio. Whoa. 610 WIOD. Whoa. President Clinton's lawyer says he'll appeal a ruling that gives a sexual harassment suit the go-ahead. A federal appeals court ruled that a sitting president is not immune from...
So anyway, Jennifer, it's our apologies, mine in particular, because everybody is apologizing these days for screwing up the first 40 seconds of your newscast because we had a little technical problem and a phone line that wouldn't go out in a pot that was open in the other room, and George
had to go take a pee.
And George had to go take a pee. You do accept our apology, don't you?
You don't have to apologize.
But we did anyway.
But I love you anyway.
And we love you, and there's only one thing to say.
They don't come any better than Hank Goldberg.
Oh, boy. It's the 1 to 2 hour.
Rude, obnoxious, foul, and distasteful. The Dolphins are cursing, and man, it's disgraceful, 'cause Brian Cox and the rest of them are saying,
suck my d***, lick my balls, shit on you, motherfucker.
Words of love they toss in the microphone. The dump button just can't seem to be left alone. And all of this is because they like saying,
suck my d***, lick my balls, shit on you, motherfucker.
Okay, we have a bulletin. We'll get back to that. We might even start it back at the beginning. But we just have a little scoop here. The announcement that Dan Marino is going to make on Y100 has to do with the Dan Marino Foundation. Like I said, the guy's done a lot of good charitable things in his town, and he's a good guy, and he never stole a freight train. And it has nothing to do with him signing or not signing or staying or leaving or who's going to be the coach or any other stuff. How do you like that, okay? So those of you who are getting sucked into listening to Dan Marino on Y100 every morning, when he says something, it's what it is.
rude, obnoxious, foul, and distasteful. The Dolphins are cursing, and man, it's disgraceful, 'cause Brian Cox and the rest of them are saying,
suck my d***, lick my balls, shit on you, motherfucker.
Words of love they toss in the microphone. The dump button just can't seem to be left alone. And all of this is because they like saying,
suck my d***, lick my balls, shit on you, motherfucker.
Oh, but they play football badly.
I didn't say that.
How did the Patriots kick their ass?
Suck my d***.
When will they make it to the Super Bowl? But with an attitude as bad as theirs.
Say what?
They're tossing our hopes down the stairs.
Oh, man.
Rude, obnoxious, foul, and distasteful. The Dolphins are cursing, and man, it's disgraceful. 'Cause Brian Cox and the rest of them are saying,
suck my d***, lick my balls, shit on you.
Yes, they're saying,
suck my d***, lick my balls, motherfucker.
Oh, they're saying,
suck my d***, lick my balls, shit on you. Suck my d***, lick my balls, shit on you, motherfucker.
108 at WIOD. Don't forget this Saturday, noon to 2, Rick and Spud and Phil Hendrie and yours truly will be at the Borders Books, Music, and Cafe store in Aventura, noon to 2 this Saturday the 13th. Come on by, pick up your best of CDs, cassettes, and T-shirts. We got about 21,500 to go to make 150 grand. We got 23 days to do it, 22 days. Let's do it, okay? So come on by and unleash lots of cash. We have 2 open lines in Broward, 524-WIOD, and we got 2 on the green lines again, which, like I said, we ought to convert those over to make them pound IOD lines so they'll get used a lot now that we can do Bell South Mobility and cellular AT&T, whatever it is, and all the other stuff. Instead of wasting them on the passion bitch and those underlings in Palm Beach County who don't use them at all, unless, of course, we're giving something away. Here's Miami on the purple line. Hello.
Neil, good afternoon.
Buenas tardes, amigo.
Well, you kind of stole my thunder. I was listening to Hank yesterday in a fit of... Hank.
Yeah.
In a case of radio dyslexia. And
the Hummer?
He,
See, I used to think when they said the hammer, I thought it had something to do with, like, you know, like a real hammer that you, like, pound nails with.
Well, yeah, you know.
It has to do with pork.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting. But
you know, the kind of hammer you pound pork with, I guess.
If you say so. He had mentioned the same thing, that the announcement on 100 by Marino is going to be about his little foundation there. So.
Yeah, but they're building it up like it's going to be something else because they're trying to suck a lot of naive people in there, a lot of naive 5-year-olds in listening, thinking they're going to hear something about football.
Yeah, well, you know, it gives the people something to do.
There you go. Good point.
That little ditty you just played coming out of the break.
Yeah.
What's the title? What do you call it?
Foul-mouthed Dolphins.
Oh, okay, because I tell you, man, the other night I stayed awake for well over an hour just singing that song over and
all
over.
Right.
I couldn't get it out of my head, man.
Great.
So it's all your fault.
Okay.
And in closing...
Yes? We have an open line on the purple line, which, like I said, is opened up to a lot of new avenues now, and we pay for it, which is exactly what you want on those cell phones. Pound IOD, whether you got Bell South, you got AT&T Wireless, whether you got something that you don't even know what it is because it's the boss's phone, just pick it up and pound IOD, and here we are, just waiting on you. Open line in Broward, 524, one on the green line, 1-800, as we try desperately to keep it up for another 41 minutes or 50, whatever it is. By the way, speaking of the guiding light, just when we get to these climactic parts of our soaps, which we're hanging on to desperately, they got a guy that's filling in for Marion the Maniac, the psychopath. The role of Schmendrick today will be played by, and the guy, it don't even look like the other one at all, and he's wearing the Zorro outfit, and all of a sudden, and how, by the way, did he get that Zorro outfit like in 5 minutes? Where do you go to get a Zorro outfit on New Year's Eve like in about 2 minutes? So you can go over there and kidnap Lucy. That's something we shouldn't be thinking that deep, because after all, once you start thinking details, the soaps don't make any sense anymore. Here's Tamarack. Hello.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, sir.
Did you catch on the front page about the Supreme Court decisions that just came down?
Yes.
Your comment as far as the censorship, as well as
the word police, right?
The word police, and the fact that now you cannot get a job if you smoke.
Right.
Which is, I mean, it started with drug testing.
It's called fascism, sir. I've told you this for how many years? For like 20 of the last 20 years?
It's
fascism.
It's fascism.
It started with Joe McCarthy. In fact, it started with Harry Truman and the national security, like we're looking over your shoulder, the Big Brother movement, and then it moved on to Joe McCarthy, and now here we are with Reagan, and we've transcended to Bob Dole and Newt Gingrich and Bob Dorn and all the Nazis out there. That's what we got.
And it's in a big election year, and I voted for Clinton. I'll vote for him again. I think other than Ruth Bader Ginsburg, I couldn't read anything in the paper as to what the vote was. You figure it's Scalia, it's Thomas, it's Rehnquist.
Yeah, Rehnquist. Oh, my God.
They're going to vote Clinton out of office over Whitewater, and we're going to get another...
No, they aren't. Bob Dole couldn't win he couldn't win an election for dog catcher, okay? Trust me when I tell you, Bob Dole is a born loser.
I hope you're right on that.
Make no mistake about that.
I'm clutching my passport here over the latest thing, because next it's going to be people who are overweight cause more trouble to your health insurance because of the body fat. We can go on and on with this.
Dr. Atkins is working on that one.
And genetic testing.
Yep.
One last thing. Did you catch the end of the game with the Colts with Harbaugh? And they got on the field. Harbaugh. They asked him, I don't remember how they worded it, but as far as how the game went, but his answer was, I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Yes, I already mentioned that.
You mentioned that.
Born-again fanatic.
But does that mean Jesus Christ didn't have, I guess, a bet on the Kansas City Christians?
He bet on the Colts.
Evidently.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
And see ya. By the way, speaking of pronouncing things correctly, Denise Potvin, who could be one of the simplest people I've ever met in my life. I haven't met him, but ever seen. Thank God I haven't met him. Last night during the Panthers-San Jose game, he's talking about somebody from Worcester. Worcester, Matt. And he's serious. Worcester rhymes with rooster. And then, to make it even better, my good friend Jeff Rimmer calls Ulf Dahlen Darlene. Ever see a hockey player named Darlene? That's like a football player named Lynn. Oh, sorry. 114 at WIOD because Lynn Swan gets pissed off when you say that. The real cost with cellular phone service isn't the phone, it's the monthly airtime. Now, a lot of people out there have gotten sucked into believing this deal that when you sign up for a year or two, they give you a phone and all you pay is a penny for it. Wrong. The real deal is that you pay for it over and over again with those gigantic monthly bills. Switch over to Mobile One Cellular Network and start saving up to 40% each and every month. There's a plan starting at just $19.95 a month, including free airtime. You get a free Motorola pager thrown in there as well, and your calls will average only 30 cents a minute. Call 1-800-PHONE-M1 right now, and Mobile One will go over your cellular phone bill and tell you how much you'd save every month and could start saving like right away. And if they can't save you money, you'll still get that free pager. Mobile One makes it easy to switch with over-the-phone approval, immediate activation. So what are you waiting for? Don't forget, those free phones that other companies allege that they're giving you for free aren't free after all. You're paying through the nose, through the hose, each and every month like crazy. So save up to 40% on your cellular service by calling Florida's new smart choice, Mobile One. 1-800-PHONE-M1. That's 1-800-PHONE-M1. Mobile One, the real deal. Free pager requires activation.
Tonight on Deco Drive, you've read all the gossip.
I love you. It's between you and me and the entire planet.
Now, it's the stars' turn to let loose.
How's that for a soundbite?
Deco Drive goes one-on-one with Julia Roberts, Sylvester Stallone, Richard Gere, Bruce Willis, and Tom Hanks.
I try to sleep with her every night.
Wait till you hear the rest on Deco Drive with Kelly Mitchell and Jessica Aguirre. Take a ride. Tonight at 7, only on 7.
When they try to rob you blind.
How many people do you scam a week?
When they put you at risk.
One particular truck was in such bad shape, the wheel actually come off.
When they waste your tax dollars, Inside Edition is there to set the record straight. We've pushed harder, dug deeper to keep you safe, to get to the truth. Inside Edition Investigations, the guts to get the story.
Inside Edition, tonight at 7:30 on WSBN 7.
More reasons for you to listen to the morning show, besides that firearms and call return thing. News from around the planet, 1996 version. What is that noise?
I gotta get rid of this drip, you know.
Oh, here, try this.
Oh.
Now it's got wings and channels.
Oh, it's snug.
Rick and Suds, 6 to 10 a.m. on News, Talk, and Entertainment Radio, 610 WIOD.
They're mentioning the name Neil Rogers a lot down here.
The last I heard him do baseball was years ago, and he did pretty good baseball. But he's gotten a reputation now that I wouldn't hire him.
Put on my brand new shoes and I tripped out the door. Got soaked when my convertible roof leaked in the middle of the pouring rain. Took an exit off the freeway and hot coffee poured over me. Yeah, I got a speeding ticket. Then I rear-ended the guy in front of me. Then I was walking in darkness. I was watching as that trail of doom followed me. And when they cleaned out my office, it suddenly struck me this wasn't my day.
Oh, okay. What? Well, we're talking about important stuff to me, and that's more important than you guys right at the moment. Anyway, it's 117 at WIOD. What do you mean right at the moment? We have two open lines in Broward, 5249463. Don't make the audience feel unloved and unimportant. They're your bread and butter. Right. 5249463. Look at the big smile on Sharon's puss as she's there telling Nick, guess what? Amy remembered. Matt raped her. She shot him, and yada yada. And Matt flew the coop, and she's got a big smile on her puss, and he's going to get out and no more the warp man. And did it rub off? And did he catch anything? Because if he did, she's out. All right, enough already with that stuff, okay? And by the way, when are you going to shave that schmutz off your puss? He said to her. Okay, let's go to Miami. Hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Does Larry King really think that he was talking to Bob Green?
Yes.
How dumb can he be?
Well, there you go.
That's the
obvious question.
He's a total idiot.
I mean, he carried on a conversation for 10 minutes with a...
Hi, this is Larry King.
Yep.
So what?
It's mind-boggling, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Think, first of all, when you hear the voice, I hate to say this, but I mean that's not one of the great. Over the phone, when Bob does the Bob Green, I mean when Phil does the Bob Green on the phone, it's really great. But like in the studio like that, cold on the mic, it like is a little bit lacking in something like credibility. And to think that he would believe that this is like a real guy, and then the guy starts breaking down into tears, and to buy into this.
Yeah, no, he's got to be. He's out in left field. Something. I have a question.
Yeah.
How long do you think Jimmy Johnson will tolerate Hypinga?
Meaning what?
Well, if they even have an
does not.
association, how
Let
long
me
will
tell
it
you
last?
this: if Jimmy does his job, Hypinga won't even look at him cross-eyed. That's
Okay.
all that counts.
Okay.
I'm telling you, that's like I said. I'm not going to lie to you. As much as I dislike Wayne in a lot of areas, he leaves his coaches alone. He leaves the front office people alone. He hires people that he hopes will do a good job, and he puts them in there and to do it or else. That's it.
Well, maybe that's his saving grace.
Right, I think so. Like I said before, it's ready-made for Jimmy. He's got exactly the deal. Shula's like out. He's got a title, and that's all. He's out of the office. He's out of his way, and they paved the road for Jimmy like the old Hershey Highway. Come on in, do your thing, and we're waiting for the announcement.
Okay, have a good day, bud.
And back to you. And I mean that. I don't think that there's any big surprise, any big suspense. I mean, it'll be a relief to know exactly when it happens, and they do make it official, but I don't think barring some kind of... Wayne's got the big bucks. Oh, sorry. Wayne used to have the big bucks before he started losing all his money on our Panthers. And before he started crying like goddamn Alice in Wonderland. But he does. He's got the big bucks there, and he's a business guy. Like I said, it's business. It's not personal. Open line in Dade, 751 WIOD. That's what guys like Larry King can't understand. That's what Fat Hank can't understand because he's another tuchus licker, okay? There's a difference between business and personal. And if I have an opinion, if I'm one of those people who was a season ticket holder for years, I wonder how much Fat Hank had to pay to go into the games, huh? Probably got his pass there or whatever and goes in there for free if he was going to the games. Don't see him at any Panther games, by the way, which I'm sure he could go to for free. But I was subsidizing that business over there for 4 or 5 years and will continue to do so again as soon as they name Jimmy the head coach. I'll put my cash down on my deposit since Fat Rich is still holding those nice pair of 50-yard line season tickets. Thank you. So I think I do have a right to say something. I have a right to have an opinion whether Hank likes it or Larry likes it or the brainstem or anybody else likes it. But this has become a country, thanks in large part to people like Larry King, where we just have professional tuchus lickers out there. And I got news for you. It's bad for your health, Larry. Do you know what I'm talking about? A lot of stuff going around these days, sweetheart. 121 at WIOD. Since 1982, the folks at A Atlantic Coast Mortgage have been in business helping folks just like you get the money they need is what they've been helping them do. You might think that if you have credit or income problems, you won't be able to get the financing you're looking for. Well, here's the good news. Here's the surprise. At A Atlantic Coast Mortgage, that's not true. A Atlantic Coast Mortgage can help you get the cash you need for home improvements, for purchases, whatever you got to have the money for. Even if you've got credit problems, income problems, they can help you. Call 1-800-281-3164 and find out how you can get a first or second mortgage at the lowest rates going out there. A Atlantic knows they're getting you the lowest rates because they check every day with 50 lenders to find you the best deal waiting for you out there. And there's no application fee either, so what do you got to lose? Call 1-800-281-3164. Don't be held back by what you think are problems. A Atlantic Coast Mortgage will try and find you a way to get the money that you need. 1-800-281-3164 for A Atlantic Coast Mortgage, a licensed mortgage brokerage business. Call them today. One more time for the West Coast. It's toll-free, 1-800-281-3164.
News, Talk, and Entertainment Radio.
News, Talk, and Entertainment Radio.
610 WIOD.
Well, bless my soul, what's wrong with me? My head's spinning so bad I could hardly see. Come on, pass me that bottle and give me a jug. I feel buzzed. I'm all up. Ooh, ooh, yeah. Well, my hands are shaking and my knees are weak. I drank so much I could hardly speak. I don't stand too close cause I might object. I feel buzzed. Oh! I'm all up. Ooh, ooh, yeah.
The doctor gave me some pills that'll blow my mind. I'm a little freaked out, but feeling fine. It's Percodan that I love best. Give me such a charge, I nearly lose my breath. I took a little more, thrill I got. A bartender poured me another shot. A little pick me up because I'm in a rut. I feel buzzed. I'm off. Ooh, yeah, yeah. Well, my brain's so fried I can hardly speak. I've gained 100 pounds and my blood is weak. There's only one way I can get in my kicks. I got to call up the doctor, get me a fix. I took a little more, what a thrill I got. A bartender pour me another shot. I need a little pick me up because I'm in a rut. I feel buzzed. I'm all
All right. 125. I thought that was never going to end. We have an open line and date. So what's the name of this movie with the very young Jim Carrey who looks pretty damn good to me? What's the name of it?
Love at First Bite.
Love at First Bite. He's biting it right now, as a matter of fact. Open line in Broward, two of them at 5.
Sorry, that was the other one.
What?
Love at First Bite was the George Hamilton one.
So what is this?
Once Bitten, I think.
So in other words, you're trying to say that all of his movies bite? Is that what you're trying to say in your own Julio way?
No, not me.
Two open lines in Broward, 524-9463, 524-WIOD, as we continue with our relentless assault upon bullcrap. That's what this show is really all about. It's a relentless, never-ending assault on crap. And that's not easy, let me tell you. Here's Miami Shores. Hello.
Hi, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. I'm a first-time caller.
Great.
Finally managed to get through.
Uh-huh.
Enjoy your program.
Well, thank you so much.
I want to wish you a very happy New Year.
Even though this is the worst radio talk show in America, but hey, listen, every dog finds its lot.
It's entertaining.
Uh-huh.
I'm born here in Miami, and pity on me. I evolved through this no major sports to 4 major teams, and I think that the fans here really don't appreciate what they have.
No, they sure don't.
And they support.
But first of all, let me just let's again, I hate to say this because it sounds very negatory, but it happens to be true. When you analyze the population here and you take the 50 or 60% of the people over the age of 100 who are mostly dead. Most of those people, I mean, we have a few live wires out there, but most of them are not going to participate or support anything that has to do with living and breathing stuff like sports. So, you count them out. Then we have certain other ethnic types who live in this community who have things that they're interested in, but other things that could never interest them, like most of the Julios, for example, are never going to come to hockey games no matter how much I talk to them, even though they're all listening right now. There are some, but not nearly as many as there should be, and so it goes.
Well, that's true. I think that...
and most of our black population, as much as they'd like to go see the Heat and maybe see some other games, most of them, because we have such a large lower-income black population in South Florida, can't afford to go.
Well, if you're a true fan, you support your team regardless of what they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the definition of a fan.
Yes.
It comes from fanatic.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, I really enjoy your program, and there are more important things that are going on, really, than the Shula business.
No, come on. I think you're out of step now. I think you owe an apology to the coach.
Yeah, right. Well, you know what? You can't knock him for what he has accomplished.
In the past.
In the past.
Like a very long time ago.
Yeah, and... about Larry King.
Like Moses used to be a pretty good guy, too, but I think his best days are behind him.
Well, let's keep him in the New Testament.
Okay.
Okay, Larry King, when he was here, I had personal contact with this guy, and...
Moses is in the New Testament?
He is...
Okay.
He is a drunk.
Moses?
He took the wine bottle, too.
Yeah.
And
too many
Hank
Passover
Goldberg,
Seder's that'll do it to the best of us.
Hank Goldberg is a real hippopotamus.
Okay. And have a great day. We have 2 open lines in Dade, 751-WIOD. We have one in Broward, 524-9463, 524-WIOD. Not too many of the women. I'm still waiting. We've been on for 3.5 hours here today. And I'm waiting for that one defining moment, that one really perspicacious caller who's going to explain to me and lay it right out there in black and white that we can all read, that we can all hear, that we can all relate to, we can all understand in simple English or whatever language you want to speak. What is the story here that there is somebody in our midst who is beyond criticism? Whether it's like light criticism or whether it is vindictive and ugly, what difference does it make? And did I mention at the beginning? I think I did, but I'll say it again. This whole business that's going on now is part of a desperate game plan being hatched up by certain people down at the other end of the dial, which I don't want to mention WQAM, because they really believe that they're going to get the Dolphin broadcast after our contract runs out. What is it, next year? Why is it that nobody seems to know? I think we have 1 year left. And that'll be it. Regardless, I mean, that'll be it. I don't think there's any chance WIOD. And, you know, something life will go on, and we probably won't lose any money on it. And so the Brian Cox business, who just happens to be on QAM and do a show with Hank every Thursday and make sure to tell everybody he hates WIOD and Phil Hendrie and suck my duck and all this other stuff. And then, of course, we get the thing with some agent provocateur down here. I can't imagine how fat he might be. Maybe it's the Hummer. Calling up Larry and starting all this crap up, knowing, of course, full well that Larry has a tremendous grudge with me and with his radio station and a lot of the people who are still in it who remember all of his shenanigans, so that the first question out of his puss on Friday for the coach is not how do you feel, not what are you going to do with the rest of your life, not what led you to this decision, but about that station I used to work for down there with those vicious attacks. So you see, if you turn everybody in the organization against us, then the games will, like, waft their way over there. I pray that they do get it. I hope they put the games on and let Rocky bend over and do it with, Joe Rose, with the little dog. That would be really great. That would be almost as embarrassing as they got with Chris Moore and that Elaine guy doing the hockey games. They dump down, it's down in there, and meantime, it doesn't look like they got any chance, and nothing is really changing. And he's rambling on. Even Bob Farrington with Rambling Willie never rambled so much around a racetrack as this guy's rambling on, and you haven't got any idea what's going on. What a really professional job of butchering up the greatest sport on the history of mankind. How do you like that? Butchering it up. Not just a poor job, but a butcher job. So I say more power to it. You put the Dolphins on there, baby. And you know something? You'll still have 1s and 2s all the rest of the week like you always have had and you always will. Except for those hours when you have fractions. They got lard-ass Limbaugh on there. They got a man that's a monster in the goddamn radio political industry, okay? A monster, a giant, a multi-millionaire and then some, a fat Nazi son of a bitch. They got him on there. He does like 2 shares, and that's the big number, except when once in a while a Hummer lucks out and gets a few Wired Diaries in there, gets a 2 or a 3. They got no number. They got nothing. They got no story. None. Even with the Marlins, they have the lowest numbers at night during the summer with the Marlins out of any team that's got Major League Baseball anywhere in America on that station. So they think that by sticking the Dolphin games on the weekend, that's going to be the stroke that's going to bring them right up to the top. Well, guess what? You suck. Here's Fort Lauderdale on the Purple Line. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, sir? University of Rochester graduate.
All right.
Yeah, Nick Tahoe's. Remember it?
Yes, sir. Garbage plate, baby.
Beautiful stuff.
Bring me over 2 garbage plates right now. And then we'll go to Don and Bob's, and then we'll go to Abbott's for some frozen custard after.
You got it. Right over there off Beautiful.
That's right. All we got in Rochester is lilacs, food, and snow, but hey, it ain't all bad.
You got it.
And at least we got a symphony orchestra anyway.
Yeah, the Eastman School of Music, too.
Right, and we got the Amherst. We got a hockey team anyhow.
A Bush League hockey team.
And the Red Wings, a Bush League baseball team.
You got it, for the Orioles. You
Silver
got it.
Stadium, right.
Neil, close friend of Miriam, your hair cutter.
Right.
She comes to my house. Great lady.
I need her this week, by the way.
Yeah, me too. I'm dying over here. I'm running low on money, though.
You're what?
Running low on money.
Yeah?
Yeah, okay.
Well, tell her to give it to you for nothing. And a haircut, too.
You got it. Hey, Neil, listen. I had a problem with Larry King.
Yes?
This guy just sits there and he professionally kisses ass all the time to all these people. It's a joke. I mean, it's a joke watching his show. I mean, it's a joke.
How'd you like to get paid for kissing ass? Isn't that incredible?
I mean,
how'd you like to become a multi-millionaire through kissing everybody's ass, no matter how obnoxious and detestable they may be?
You know what the beautiful thing is? I mean, it's living proof that anyone in the United States of America can make money no matter what.
Kiss your ass, kiss your way to the top. That's it.
Exactly.
Right.
You got it, Neil.
Okay, pal.
You have a good day.
And back to you.
All right.
There's a guy from Rochester. That's a place. Right. With that fake laugh, Larry. Who the hell are you kidding, okay? Just listen to that. Over and over and over again, just for the rest of you. Oh, my God. Does that tell you everything you need to know? See, everybody is like infallible. Everybody's got the Teflon shield around them, so you have to make nice. You have to just kiss up to everybody, whether it's Yasser Arafat or Jerry Falwell or no matter who it is, Louis Farrakhan. Just kissy, 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 kissy. And God forbid you should ask him a tough question. Because then you're a bad guy and they won't come on your show anymore and you can't play mutual ass kiss anymore. Everybody in the industry that's got a brain knows that this man is nothing but a professional TL, okay? And if you don't know what that means, it stands for Tochas Liquor. Tushy Liquor, baby. Okay? So don't give me a song and a dance about this is the worst show in America. If I were sitting here every day telling you what a great guy Larry King is and who his guest is tonight, he would come on there and say, man, Neil Rogers is the best. He's the best. I'm the best interviewer, but he's the best on the phones. He's the best talk show host, which he used to say some years ago before I started telling you what an asshole he is. Now I'm a bad guy. Where's the credibility, Larry? Where is it? 134 at WIOD. Jim Carrey's looking pretty good there, isn't it? How long ago was that movie? About a half an hour ago? If you're driving right now, be on your guard when you stop at the next gas station. The folks at LoJack, the Stolen Vehicle Recovery System, verify the accuracy of this report. Recently, a man drove in for self-service in his 95 Nissan Altima. He pumped his gas while a car thief was waiting in the shadows watching his every move, kind of like Miriam without the bad disguise. When he went to the pay window, he carelessly left his keys in the ignition. It took just those few seconds for the thief to hop in the car, lock the doors, and drive away. The owner was shocked, but the good thing was he had a LoJack stuck in that Nissan, and suddenly things looked brighter. He called the police, they activated his LoJack, and bingo, they got the Altima back pronto while it was still in one piece with no damage at all while it was worth getting back. So take the lead against auto theft with the protection and peace of mind that you get from LoJack. And right now, our friends at LoJack give you a free full-featured car alarm when you buy the LoJack Retrieve System. Get LoJack's total protection through your new car dealer. When you buy any kind of a new car, just say, hey, stick a LoJack in there, put it through the financing as part of the payment, and you'll barely even know you're paying for it, but boy, you'll know you got that peace of mind and protection. Or if you're driving a piece right now that you want to LoJack in, just call this toll-free number, and they'll take care of it for you. 1-800-53-LoJack. 1-800-535-6522.
Some people call him JJ. Defoe calls him the Jimmer. Most people would like to call him Coach. The Dolphins JJ Watch is underway on the home of the Dolphins. News, talk, and entertainment radio. 610 WIOD.
Loan me $50.
From Munchkin Land, how did he get ears like that? How did Dumbo get in the race? All he needs is a trunk on his face. How did he get ears like that? We'd be out of trouble with ears like that. Yeah, and now it's time to end this song. Like his ears, it's gone on too long. We could skin grab burn victims with ears like that. Ooh, I look at him with his pimple hair.
.140 at WIOD. There's another one of the great accomplishments of Larry King, foisting over that little midget with the big ears on America almost single-handedly. And, of course, forget about responsibility. Forget about the fact the man was talking caca on the ear. They had their heads up each other's ass. And, of course, maybe Larry figured some of the money would rub off, and maybe it did. Isn't that sad? Just roll up your sleeves and do-do-do. There was more do-do than you could shake your stick at, I'll tell you that, with Ross Perot. So, you know, there is the power in the hands of ass-licking men. That's where it is. We have two open lines in Dade, 751-9463, 751, what's it all about? Here's Boca. Hello.
Hey.
Hey.
I've been on hold for a while. I couldn't hold it anymore, man.
Okay, well...
I'm squeezing off of Larry.
Little pressure out.
Yeah. Did you notice, well, actually, first thing I want to say was, before they cut to the news conference with Shula last week.
Yeah.
Did you hear Brad the Booger?
No, I didn't. I was in the house watching, so I didn't hear it till later, till
He
afterward.
was asking. They totally ignored it.
Yeah, I noticed that. They were doing that afterward when what's her name, Bojangles and Manwich were like trying to pretend that the Booger wasn't even here. They just wouldn't dignify him with a response.
Just before they cut to the conference, like just a minute before it, Brad the Booger was asking Mandich if he was going to still be Shula's pool boy.
Right, if he was still going to be doing the cleaning out the car and be the pool boy.
That was beautiful.
Uh-huh. And you know what the answer is?
Yes! Oh, yeah. And, yeah, but how about them? They were throwing rats on the ice last night. Did you see in the game?
I didn't see that.
Yeah, San Jose, a couple fans, after the Panthers scored, they threw a rat on the ice.
All right.
Yeah.
I didn't. That must have been like late in the game.
Yeah, it was.
Uh-huh.
It was unbelievable.
I still have it on tape. I got to rewind it.
Yeah, you got to check it out. It was after one of the late goals.
I love it.
That Harkins looked pretty good.
Yeah, he played pretty good last night. I tell you one thing, Karkner still scares the hell out of me, and Svelo still is the worst defenseman we got.
Yeah, they're pretty thick and bad.
Oh, man. And this Karkner, I don't know who he's sleeping with, but boy, oh boy, they're always talking about how great he is and how much we missed him and how great it was to have him back. I see him coughing that thing up in his own end and giving that puck away more than anybody since Joe Sorella. He just scares the hell out of me. Once in a great while, he'll play a good game, but then about 5 bad ones.
So when's they going to pick to see who from the Panthers will be on the team? You know?
We should already know that, don't we? I mean...
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think we do. We know the West guys, but I don't think we know the East team guys yet.
Yeah, I mean...
I'll tell you one thing. The geezer better be on there. I'll tell you, that first period last night, he was unbelievable.
Yeah, they looked pretty good last night.
Yeah.
They're coming back around. Can't win forever, you know?
Right.
So,
yeah, these people, you lose a couple of games. Well, what's going on here? What's wrong? Are we going to win every day? Yeah, right.
Can't do that. But, yeah, and Larry King, I mean, he says he doesn't know you on some of those cards.
Right.
What is that crap? Just denies that he even knows.
I think he just said what it is, and that's why he says...
Hi, this is Larry King, and they don't come any better than Neil Rogers.
Right. I was only on his show with him, I don't know, about 4 or 5 times when I was working at KAT, and he had me as a guest on his show on this station, but he doesn't know who I am.
Yeah. You still have
he thinks by doing that it's going to somehow make him bigger and me smaller, and guess what? I'm not going to get any smaller.
Well,
I'm as big as I'm ever going to get, unfortunately.
I've seen him in person. He's pretty small.
Yeah. Hunchback.
Do you have that delirious card when he was like on...
You know, I knew somebody would nail me on that, and of course, we got a lot of people with slippery fingers in this joint. I have been looking for that thing and looking for it, and it's around here somewhere, unless somebody has taken it home and sleeping with it, but I'll find it.
Yeah, that's a real class act.
It's one of the best.
Yeah, all right.
Have a great life.
We'll see you.
We have 2 open lines in Dade County for some reason here. We don't have no Julios calling in here because they wouldn't know Larry King from King Julius. At 751-9463, 751-WIOD. Do we have anybody else who speaks English in Dade? I don't think so. Let's go to West Palm Beach. Hello?
Hey, Neil, am I the only one in West Palm?
Are you the only what?
Person listening.
Yeah, you're the one. Like the Voog said, you're the one.
I wanted to tell you, I keep the radio on in my bedroom all the time, and I woke up the other night and the sex bitch was on, talking about her, how her batteries died in her pocket rocket. And I couldn't believe it.
Boy, talk about a short circuit.
Hey, can I have a shameless request?
What might that be, sir?
Nobody rips you better?
Nobody rips you better. With the famous Anna Marie, what's her name?
Yep.
Okay, I'm working on it.
All right.
Have a great life.
You too.
Okay. You too. He said you too. See, they always do that. And if there's any group that I cannot stand is those Irish pipe twisters. By the time I get through the next couple of minutes, she is going to have to pick every scab off that putrid, pus-filled body of hers, all right?
Nobody rips you better.
So I'm going crazy on this, yes, because this has got to stop. You make me sick, Pat, you bitch! God! How is it possible to be so stupid, Pat?
Nobody rips you an ass as good as Neil.
You idiot, you asshole, you.
Baby's the best.
Well, sing this, you fat slob. I'm going to take this cord and I'm going to shove it right up his ass, okay? And I'm going to shove this thing so far up his butt that he's going to be singing a different tune when I get through with him. Don't we have a longer cord than this piece of crap? Look at this. Look how short this damn thing is. We got 100 assholes running around this building. They can find another one besides him, although maybe not that big. Go get it out of there. Go pull a cord somewhere. Go do something. Pull what? In your case, a good question, okay? God.
Nobody rips you better.
Don't start looking once again, as always, to blame fat old Neil for whatever you're upset about. You disgusting, nauseating old slobs.
Nobody
crabby old bitches.
Neil, if you don't repent, you're going to split hell wide open.
Yeah, I'm going to split it wide open. You know, I'm going to split wide open your skull with a mallet, you stupid old bitch. Ah! There we go. Now we're cooking. What did I just get through talking about? It was old bags. We don't want you, lady, okay? Go get some knitting out. Go find some crossword puzzles to do. Go get something.
Give me $15. I'll put in a word for you with the Lord.
146 at WIOD. Some things are too good to be true. That's why when you see or hear about a great deal, you can get... Okay, let's start all over again. Who writes this stuff with these long sentences that go on for 55 paragraphs? Let me say it again. The facts start with dry concepts, and forget about whoever wrote this stuff, because it was probably some, like Jeff Lye, that's who it is. First, dry concepts guarantees your price in writing before they even lift a finger, before they touch anything, including your carpets. Compare that to the old scam of charging $5.95 per room and then hitting you with other charges after the work's already begun. You know that scam. You know what kind of a deal that is. Then there's the actual cleaning process. Dry Concepts is the best here, too, because they keep up to date on the latest technology, and they're certified to work on every kind of carpet that's ever been invented, including area rugs, orientals. They use only certified technicians who really know their stuff. And then Dry Concepts leave you with the cleaner carpet that attracts less oil and residue and stays cleaner longer, dries in just 1 to 2 hours, and smells lemony or fresh because they put a disinfectant on while they're doing the job and sucking out that deep down hidden dirt. So don't be fooled by the imitators out there. Don't be fooled by the shysters and con artists. Call the people who have been around doing it right for years and years, including in my house every year, Dry Concepts. In Dade, call 930-3636. 930-3636. In Broward, it's 581-4739. 581-4739. And in West Palm, 930-4735. 930-4739. The one, the only, the miracle workers at Dry Concepts.
News, talk, and entertainment radio. 610 WIOD.
Hi, this is Larry King, and they don't come any better than Neil Rogers.
Radio Theater of the Mind presents Pinocchio getting a vasectomy. Thank you.
You're welcome. 149 at WIOD. We have an open line in Dade, 751. Who's that on the bat line? Could be somebody pretty interesting.
Who is that son of a bitch? Makes my freaking kiss-keys twist. The dumbest jackass with a show, you know. Larry King blows.
Yes.
Phil had him by the cojones. A gullible pile of big bald bones. You can stick his ass in a pile of snow because Larry King, he blows. Yes, everybody. Larry King, he blows.
Only $50.
All right. What'd he say?
Loan me $50.
That's what I thought he said. Don't step on it now. So it's 150 at WID. Next he'll be calling in because, he'll get another spy report from his fat friend down here, down the dial a little ways, telling him, oh, they're really ripping you. It's bad. It's vicious. And so what if it is? You're a public figure, man. You're making millions of dollars off a bunch of suckers out there that think you're some kind of God's gift to interviewing assholes. And that's it. So enjoy your money and stop being so stupid and thin-skinned, okay, Larry? Stop being so thin-skinned, Larry Ziegler. Seriously, have you ever wondered about that? And where has Steve Ziegler been lately? Is he on vacation? Oh. One of our engineers who's been here before this building was even... he's been here before they invented radio, before Marconi was born. Steve Ziegler. And this guy's like Larry Ziegler. Stop and think about that for a second. I wonder if there's something... Here's the Lady Mobile in Kendall. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Okay.
That's the important thing.
Yeah, I heard a lot about this Don Shula, all this. Although I never see the football in my life, I don't have time for that.
Well, good for you. You actually have a life. Good for you, sweetheart. I'm happy we got one person in this town that's got a life and don't need Don Shula to make it.
Yeah, but I just feel just like any profession, any places. People stuck on the position don't want to move, even they was off the season, off the tides.
Right.
And they want the power, money, and the sex. That's what they're looking for. And
money, power, and sex. Sounds good to me. Getting good to me.
And they don't want to go, and they become afraid. People competition, free, and whatever. But you're a public figure, so too bad.
I don't know what you're saying, but it sounds really good to me.
And, as I was before, I was getting libel slander. I sue somebody for libel slander because I can pick up their, capricious?
Capacious, yeah.
Or whatever.
He plays with Jim Harbaugh.
So I can sue them. But if you're a public figure, you have to really find out.
That's right.
If you're not right, you better get out.
I mean, it's one thing when it's malicious and nasty and personal, but if it's business and not personal, that's a different story. And if you can't draw the line between business and personal, you got a problem. As I said before with Coach Shula, with me, it's business, not personal. With Larry King, it's both.
Right, and also
it's
like
both.
Like the 90s, everybody work hard for the money, like a medical reform, HMO.
Right.
We all work very hard, and
that's right.
There's no difference in any.
And nobody cares about that. All they care about is the BS.
Yeah, if you perform, we pay the ticket to see you. If you don't perform, come down with a gracious memory.
Right, that's right.
Anyway, so I just.
Well, you said it. I have no idea what you said, but it was the best. You summed it up brilliantly.
Thank you.
Have a great life.